This is the worst season in my memory to have the 103 in SuperFlex. And we're going to get into it today with Cody Carpentier, DJ Moore trade, combine risers and fallers. There's a lot happening right now on the Sonic Truth Dynasty podcast. Do you have the 103 anywhere in SuperFlex?
I don't have the 103 anywhere.
Nightmare scenario. This is the nightmare scenario if you have the 103. This is the last year you would ever want the 103, man. Some years, the 103 is actual gold. It's made of gold. I remember one year you could get Jamar Chase with the 103. That was a thing that was available. Most years, there's a really, really good player available at the 103. This year in SuperFlex, it's Price, it's Mendoza, and then it is.
I mean, it's you pick your flavor at wide receiver. It's Carnell Tate, it's Mekhi Lemon, it's Jordan Tyson, but it's a big problem because you're trying to wrap your head around any of these guys, and wherever you go, and I know sometimes you say like going on X and looking up these players is not the best route. Like I get my own information from myself when watching these guys and going through the data and stuff like this. But if you go out there,
I was wondering where you get your information.
It's a bevy of like opinions on what these guys can be, and you can poke holes in every single one of them. Like Carnell Tate is a clear Z receiver. He's going to be a wide receiver too wherever he goes. And that in Dynasty is like, okay, so that's like what? That's like your T. Higgins rule. That's like a Jordan Addison rule. Like, what does that do for you in Dynasty? Is that worth the 103? And then you have Mekhi Lemon, who a lot of people love. We thought he was going to be smaller. We still don't know how fast he is because he didn't test. He came in at 5'11", which is great, and he's getting comps to Amon-Ra St. Brown. But he, out of all the receivers at the Combine last week, almost self-imploded as far as the interviews go with the media and with teams reportedly. You have Casey Concepcion, who people are putting in a bucket as a gadget guy. He's going to be a big punt returner, but he's going to be all slot. I happen to disagree. Then you have Jordan Tyson, who has year over year with injuries. And it's a mess. It's a complete mess, whichever flavor you like, as far as thinking about what's the upside, what's the 100th percentile outcome for any of these guys. Can you get a Justin Jefferson level outcome from a Jordan Tyson? Yes, that's in there. But the likelihood you get that 100th percentile outcome is very, very, very shallow. It's very short because with the history of the injuries, with the lack of he didn't test, he didn't run, he's still nursing a hamstring injury. And like, there's just too many questions and there's too many glass half empty approaches to all of these guys that overweigh like being like, oh yeah, Casey Concepcion's going to be the alpha. He's going to be Stephon Diggs. And you're like, okay, that sounds cool. But when's he going to get drafted? Where's he getting all these different things that go into it? And that's your 103 conversation is all these different wide receivers because we all know it ain't going to be a running back.
Almost self-imploded. We've got to get back to this. I have questions about almost self-imploding. That sounds interesting. So we got to make sure that we cover that, right? So we have almost self-implosions. So that's something we're going to talk about later. We're going to get into wide receivers later. We're going to cover wide receivers today. Don't worry. We're talking about rookie wide receivers today. We're talking about rookies and some DJ Moore. We're going to talk about some rookies. I want to start with tight ends, though, because there's some tight ends that are exciting. And so let's just kick it off with DeGod. I mean, this is a possible 103. The fact that we're talking about tight end at the 103, this is like a Kyle Pitts redux, right? That was the year of Jamar Chase. If you recall, you had straight-faced fantasy analysts, experts, drafting a Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase. And it was weird. It was a weird time. And it was bizarre. So let's get into tight end first and foremost, because this is one of our options here at the 103. It's basically you get the 102, You get the 101. You're hoping for either one, and then it's basically like I think that the rookie drafts are really it's the 101 and then the 102 and then the 201. there's, there's 10 missing players in this class. Kenyon Sadiq, though, I mean, pretty good.
He's a freak.
Pretty,
I mean, he was a freak.
pretty,
We got warned
pretty
about
good.
the
Pretty
athleticism
good.
with Kenyon Sadiq, but we always knew he was going to be good. We didn't know he was going to be 100th percentile across the board, but we did know he was going to be around 6'3". We did know he was going to be potentially 240. We were kind of worried he was going to come in at like that 237, 238. And yeah, you pull up the stats, and he was productive enough, but he disappeared for a little fraction of the season this year on that great Oregon roster, playing with some good receivers, but a banged up wide receiver room. He's young. I think I wouldn't put him anywhere near the Kyle Pitts conversation from a, when you say quote unquote generational perspective of what you can, throw Pitts into that conversation, throw Bowers into that conversation. I would not put Sadiq in that conversation.
Well, not generational. 40 time 100th percentile, burst 100th percentile, speed score, size adjusted even 100th percentile. I know he's only 241, but the 4.39 makes up for it.
Yeah,
Right? I'm excited to see the comps. We're working on the comps right now at Player Profiler.
I'll tell you
Vernon Davis. I mean, the Vernon Davis is one that jumps out at me right away as a potential comp. We're talking about Evan Ingram, Vernon Davis.
That's it. That's the list.
Is that it? Is that the list?
That has to be the list.
That's just
right?
top of the dome. I'm not looking at any information about it. We don't have the comps yet. They'll be released very soon, but that's what I'm thinking.
Those are really good tight ends. Those are historically really good tight ends that gave you we got multiple 750-yard seasons out of Evan Ingram in the NFL. He was 234, 6'3", 4.42. Didn't jump quite as high as Sadiq. Vernon Davis, 6'5", weighed a couple pounds more, ran a 4.38, similar. Didn't jump quite as high. He was about an inch and a half short of Sadiq's 43.5. So I think it's going to be a mishmash of those two guys. Whichever one pops out, I'll be interested to see. But those aren't 255-pound historically great level dynasty assets when you think about the guys that have sat at the top of the dynasty rankings for the last 2 decades, mainly being Travis Kelce. You think of George Kittle, 245 plus pounds, Mark Andrews of the world, like Tony Gonzalez, is all these guys that, it's the new age. It's the new wave. I understand that. Like, we're getting leaner at the tight end position for sure. I mean, the list goes on in this class specifically as far as these guys being in this 240-pound range. And I mean, there's some guys with potential down the line, but as far as the complete package goes, I'm not on the Sadiq. I wouldn't even. I mean, this is the problem with this class. It will be entertained. You bring up the 103, it'll be entertained.
Well, I think he is the 103 in tight end premium, tight end premium dynasty leagues. He is the 103.
Yeah,
that is it. He is it, and I would consider him there. I can't stand first round tight ends in any context. Dynasty startup, seasonal league draft, rookie draft. I've never been the got to get my tight end guy, right? Which has allowed me to sidestep a Kyle Pitts and some of the bigger landmines at tight end. You can go all the way back to like O.J. Howard. There have been a lot. There have been a lot of problems at tight end, and guys that took forever to break out, and they finally broke out, but you could have got them at a discount 35 times during their career, like David Njoku. So for this reason, fundamentally, process-wise, going tight end early it's always one of those. It's always one of those super cerebral. I'm gonna 4D chess this draft, Whenever someone does that, whenever someone tries to big brain the draft, you see and I remember the original one, the original uh, 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 thought about this was me. I actually was the first. I'm only saying this because many years ago, the first writing I ever did for fantasy football at all was the case for Gronk in the first round. That was, in straight up fantasy drafts, the case for Gronk in the first round, the positional scarcity edge that you get with Rob Gronkowski in the first round. This was an idea that I had, and then as I watched year over year over year over year, those that implemented this strategy constantly failing and it really setting your team up for just an awful structure, I abandoned it. But was that was like almost 20 years ago. That was almost 20 years ago. That was back when Matthew Berry was talking about drafting Michael Vick at the 101. It was back in that era. It was back in the era when quarterback would go at the 101 in fantasy drafts. That's how far back I was thinking about. Yeah, whatever. That I was thinking about this idea of the position scarcity around tight end and how to take advantage of it. And it's come full circle where I'm like, yeah, but the volatility of the position is so high that is as good as Sadiq looks, because when we're modeling tight end, the production is secondary. The athleticism is king. Athleticism matters more for tight ends than it does even running backs. And it matters much less for wide receivers. And it's all reflected in the Breakout Finder app. And so the breakout ratings, all the Breakout Finder data will be available very soon. So stay on the lookout for that with the Breakout Finder app. So there's another tight end that I want to talk about, unless you have more thoughts about Mr. Sadiq.
No.
No, you're not in on Sadiq. That's cool. What about?
It's going to be a running, continual thought for me on this class. It's just I'm just not in on a lot of it. I like these dudes, but more
Eli
as humans
Stowers.
than players.
Eli Stower, the number one most athletic tight end in this class, more athletic than Sadiq. He's built very similar to Sadiq, similar measurables. Why not?
Well, I think that the value is going to be there more with Stowers than Sadiq, obviously. I think you're talking about a guy that isn't going to get drafted until round 2 of the NFL draft. You're probably going to get a little bit better landing spot. Here's the story with Stowers, too, is that this was a former quarterback in college at Texas A&M, goes to New Mexico State. This guy named Diego Pavia ends up at New Mexico State. He forms a relationship with him. They transfer together to Vanderbilt, and the rest is sort of history. He sets the all-time record for the vertical jump at 45.5 inches last week. I think this is a guy that I might be more into drafting of the same ilk, right? He's 6'4", 6'3.5", 6'4", 239 pounds, very similar build to Kenyon Sadiq. Sadiq's going to be more jacked up. So the pictures and stuff that float around Twitter, especially during camps, is going to always lean towards the Sadiq. Oh, this guy looks so good. But Stowers in a real world, I think, could end up being the better of the two guys at the tight end position. So if you're talking about just pure value in Dynasty, I think you're talking about Stowers in that conversation as far as just his abilities and his consistencies and how much he's grown at the tight end position just the last 2 years. Like I said, after transferring from quarterback to tight end, from the G5 to the Power 4, much more impressed with him. He's a 7-foot high jumper in high school. Like this is an insane athlete. At this tight end position, you put on a couple pounds, I think you're talking about a guy that can continue to transform at the position.
Even in 2024, his target share was 25%, Cody. And then this past year, the catch rate was 72%. This guy can play football.
Yeah.
And why can he play football? Because he was a quarterback. And when you are a quarterback, you understand where to be on the football field in a more intuitive way than anyone else because you've seen the field and you see where the pockets are from the other perspective. I love that. I love that. And I've seen it. This happens a lot. You actually don't see it happening this late. A lot of times what will happen is you come in as a quarterback and then they switch you immediately. So this happened when I was an equipment manager at Northwestern. They would sign like 8 quarterbacks because a lot of times the most athletic guy on his team played quarterback. And you have all these guys coming in 6'4", 6'5", and they were well-regarded quarterbacks. They were distinguished quarterbacks. They won awards wherever they were. And then within a week, they're being asked to transfer to tight end. I mean, it's like, hey, you got a scholarship, but it's not going to happen at quarterback. We gotta pare this thing down from 8 guys to 5 guys or 6 guys, and 2 of you are going to be playing tight end. So that's the. Sometimes they transfer to wide receiver. We've seen that. Matt Jones, guys like that. We've seen that before. But often it happens right away, and they go to tight end, and a lot of times they're successful. And we don't even know that they were quarterbacks. Like they were barely ever a quarterback. They were a quarterback maybe in high school, and then for a week of camp in college. So he gave it a little bit more of a. He had a little bit more of a run at quarterback before they finally decided to throw in the towel. Probably because it was a smaller school. Had he gone to a bigger school, probably would have been converted to tight end earlier. Regardless, this just shows that not only is this guy explosive, but he has great hand-eye coordination. He's just a great athlete in general. And so he's a great athlete with great hand-eye coordination who's out here posting 700 yards a season the last couple of years. This is my guy. This is where you say, okay, I get Sadiq is going at the 103 in tight end premium rookie drafts. And I can just go ahead and sidestep that. I can trade back, whatever I'm going to do. And this is the guy you would want. This guy. Or is there another guy?
There might be one more. And I think you might like this guy quite a bit. This is a player that was at the Senior Bowl. So we got some eyes on him in Mobile a month ago. But he's one of just 6 players in the age of not doing workouts at the combine, going to the combine, not running, not jumping, not doing this, not doing that. He did everything. One of 6 players out of 319 that did everything. Sam Roosh from Stanford. Sam Roosh from Stanford. Listen to this one, Matt. Ready? There's only a couple of players. I'll be interested to see what the player profiler system
is this
spits out
guy for real? Is he for real with the glasses? I mean, 2 of the
Stanford
of the quarterbacks.
I mean, this is now
we see quarterbacks with glasses. Now we've got the tight ends wearing glasses. Now we've got
the door glasses.
Several top tight ends at super athletic tight ends. 2 of the top 3 most athletic tight ends in this class are wearing glasses. Really?
Look at this guy. Look at this profile right here. 6'6", 6'6". He comes in at 267 pounds. Wow. There's only a few guys, if you look at the family of players in the last 20 years that have come in at 6'6" or 6'7" and been in the 260s. So you're not 270 plus, you're not in the 250s. In the 260s, the family of the 260s, and running the 4.7s. There's only 7 dudes. And so I'm going to be very interested to see how the player profiler system spits this out, because it's a very interesting list. Depending on draft capital, Nick Casa, 6th-round pick. Brevin Spanford didn't get drafted. 3rd-round pick, CJ Fedorowicz. 3rd-round pick, Jason Witten. 2nd-round pick, Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And 2nd-round pick, Matt, Rob Gronkowski.
Yes.
It's a maniacal group if he goes, and he might be a 3rd-round. I think he's probably going to end up being a 3rd-round pick.
Go to data analysis. Go to data analysis on Player Profiler. Has all these guys, Jason Witten, back through time. You want to pull all the data, all the workout data on all these tight ends back through time. what their draft capital was, their age was, all these things. Go to data analysis on Player Profiler, and you can mix and match and create. You can filter by class year. There's so much you can do with data analysis. It's incredible. So, okay, I love this guy. I mean, he's wearing fake glasses or glasses that are like taped in the middle. They're broken glasses, and he's from Stanford. He looks like a nice guy. Did you talk to him at the combine?
Talked to him at the combine, talked to him at the Senior Bowl. This is a very intelligent, physically ready human. Like this is like when you talk about like the old school type, when we're talking about Kansas City and Eli Stowers and that new age tight end, like this is not new age. This is plug him in, all 3 downs. He doesn't come off the field. He had 80 targets last year at Stanford, who's not good. But they're building. Shout out to Andrew Luck building the roster. 6.5 yards after catch per reception, almost a yard and a half higher than Kenyon Sadiq at Oregon. He's getting the job done, and that's all that matters to me at the tight end position and the athleticism.
Dude, I officially hate Sadiq. Why would I draft Sadiq when I have these kinds of choices? Can the tight end position save this class?
Yes.
This is looking like a really good. I'm trying to think back to the last time. Was it the David Njoku, OJ Howard year? That was what, Ingram, Howard, and Njoku? Was that all one year? Is that like 2018? Something like that?
I want to say I was going to say I was trying to think what year it was.
I feel
Ingram,
like that was like the triumvirate big 3 tight end season.
You also got Jonnu and George Kittle out of that season.
Yeah, that was an incredible tight end season. Could this season rival that season? Could this class rival that class?
I think it's going to be. I mean,
anyone else? Anyone else we should add to this list?
Oh, of this tight end. I mean,
or did we cover the big 3?
We could. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's my. So, Roush is not consensus tight end 3.
Oh, he's my tight end 3 now.
He's my tight end 3. Like the consensus tight end 3s right now is Justin Joly from North Carolina State, who's 6'3", 241, massive hands, didn't test. Max Clare from Ohio State, 6'4". He was a transfer this last year from Purdue, 6'4", 245, didn't test. Jack Endries, a tight end from Texas who came by way of California, who played with Fernando Mendoza last year, or 2024. Was actually roommates with Mendoza, talked a lot about him. He ran a 4.62 at 245 pounds. This class is deep from that perspective. DJ Rogers from TCU's fun. Tanner Coswell. I've talked to Maddie about Coswell from Houston, and Alex loves him as well. I wrote him down. Physically, that dude is like 2-3 years away from being – he could potentially be a game changer. Coswell, Kozoil, for those wondering. That dude right there came in at 6'6" and change, 247, ran a 4.7 flat, massive, long, large, but super young. And he's one that physically, if he can mature the next year or two in a system, he could be really, really fun as far. We're talking Kazo from like a 4th, 5th round Dynasty rookie draft perspective right now.
He's one of those guys that can't smile. You know, guys that can't smile, where he's trying so hard to smile, but his lips won't go up on the side.
He looks like he just said cheese.
Yeah, he's like cheese, cheese. Like, hey, dude, just raise it up. You can't do it. Can't smile. Poor guy. Yeah, he's smile inhibited. But I get it. He's trying. I appreciate the hustle from Tanner Coswell. Yeah. This is why I wanted to lead with tight end. Clearly, I had an agenda here that I didn't want to just start off with like, okay, running back, off we go. Damn it.
Instant negativity.
Or wide receiver, like get ready to, strap yourself in for more like wide receiver 2 talk. No, I wanted to get, this is exciting. This tight end class is exciting.
And deep. And I think it's probably gonna be what saves When you look back at this class, kind of what you're talking about, like there was 27 tight ends invited to the combines, the most in the last 10 years.
Love
Like
it.
there's a reason for that. And it's because, I mean, of the 8 names I just listed off, there's a couple more that are fun and interesting and will make rosters and maybe not be fantasy relevant, but will make rosters and be blocking tight ends for multiple years because they're just meat packers at the college level and they can do that. But it's a really good, I mean, the tight end class is, as far as the depth and as far as what can be the top end talent, is significantly better than the rest of the 3 fantasy relevant positions.
Yeah, and we have the rookie rankings up on PlayerProfiler.com. There's a rookie rankings section in the player rankings section. There's also the Dynasty Deluxe package where we have all the rankings there, and our elite analytics specialist Evan Ringler, in combination with Maddie, our film dude who was with you at the combine. Had Maddie have a good time?
Maddie didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
Maddie snowed in to Boston.
Maddie was snowed in.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So we've been teasing him all week. We've been
Well, Maddie also missed the Senior Bowl.
Because of snow.
Right. So the guy can't travel, I guess.
Can't I think he might be like Howie from Benchwarmers. Like Howie from Benchwarmers was scared to go out and face the sun. I think Maddie's scared to go outside and face the snow.
Yeah,
I think we need to
well,
make a player page for Maddie, and it needs to be Howie from Benchwarmers.
wow. Yeah, well, we certainly, I think we paid for a room for him. We'll it's okay. It's okay, Maddie. We'll these snow days, they get snowed in. You can't predict the weather, right? But I'm sure we'll he's gonna get the next one. He's gonna make it to the next one. Senior Bowl, combine, he's gonna make it. Somehow, some way, he's gonna make it. I'm confident.
He'll be good.
He'll be good. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Maddie's gonna be fine. He'll be fine. He is going to be fine. Unbelievable, this guy. Unbelievably bad luck. And the thing is, I know I live in Connecticut. Like, I know the Northeast has been getting hammered, absolutely hammered. So I feel bad that this poor guy's been stuck at home when all this. The only silver lining is the class stinks. DJ Moore. We promised him DJ Moore. I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are on DJ Moore. This is the fit. This was the dream scenario everyone's been thinking about, talking about. It's been super, I think, obvious. This is like basically whenever the Bills just decide to get real and admit that they can't draft receivers, then they go out and they acquire Stephon Diggs. And that was a big win for Buffalo. And now they're doing something similar. DJ Moore is similar to Stephon Diggs. At this point in his career, he's not Stephon Diggs, but it's a great fit, and it's just perfect. It hurts Shakir. Like, he has a similar game at this point to Shakir, so there's going to be some redundancy there. But this is, I love the admission that, hey, we're not good at this. We could have had Ladd McConkey. We went Keon Coleman. We're not good at this. So there's just getting real. DJ Moore to Buffalo. This was inevitable. We already on the rankings already had pushed up Luther Burden. But now it's official. DJ Moore is not going to be a Bear. What are your thoughts on this trade for the players involved?
Well, my initial thoughts are, I think everybody wins except for Khalil Shakir. I think everybody on the Bears side wins from the agonizing, Luther Burden's not going to get enough opportunities. Rome Odunze can potentially be, in that top 3 dynasty wide receiver conversation at this point next year. Could. Colston Loveland could be in the, tight end one.
Man.
All these could happen, but there's like this thing that was obviously in the way, which was targets and DJ Moore. So I think it's a massive win for everybody in Chicago. And I think a lot of people, if they've had their head on the game, have seen a move coming with DJ Moore. And when you look at the Buffalo side, people on X are hating the draft capital that they had to give up, which was a second round pick, which is pick 60, which we can talk about the wide receiver group. You can get a good enough wide receiver at pick 60, but the problem is once you get out of round one and you're in that round two conversation, it's like, well, we've seen guys like Tyquan Thornton and Sky Moore going round two as well. And the one thing we know about Brandon Beane is his hit rate at wide receiver as the general manager in Buffalo. As much as I like Brandon Beane, it hasn't been good, not even close to good. So
Dwayne
if you can,
Eskridge.
if you can overpay a little bit, even if you got to pay over, even if you got to overpay a lot of bit, but you know you're going to get a guy like DJ Moore who can be a number one in an offense, and you're like, I got to give up a second round pick, and his contract's not terrible; it's fully guaranteed, and it's going to cost me $40 million these next 2 years, but my window is like this at this point because of how long I've kicked the can on actually going all in at wide receiver. Would you overpay for a championship would this won't even be a talking point a year from now if Buffalo's in the Super Bowl? So when you look at it, you look back to the Stephon Diggs trade in 2020 that happened like 2 weeks later into March than this. They gave up a first round pick. Obviously that ends up being, Jefferson and that whole back and forth thing with Minnesota, but that was a 26-year-old Stephon Diggs. So it's 3 years younger. I think the draft capital is fine for what it is. And as far as DJ Moore goes in Dynasty, I still like,
Yeah.
you have to, it's hard to not like him. I think he's definitely still a top 80 probably a top 80 asset overall in one QB. So it's tough. I think I saw Ryan McDowell put a tweet out earlier. He's like, I can't even get a second round pick for DJ Moore in Dynasty. Like I think that's going to change.
Well, DJ Moore a few years ago had 1,300 yards, and then before that he had 3 straight seasons of 1,100 plus yards. He's good at football, just doesn't score touchdowns, but we're talking about 14, 16 fantasy points per game. And I don't think he's done. I don't think there's a major injury. I'm looking at his injury history on PlayerProfiler.com. We're not seeing major injuries here that you would look at this. The guy barely ever misses a game. Did he miss a game last year?
I don't know. You're asking injury. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did, man. The injury history is not much. Not much for DJ Moore,
like he was on that
man.
injury report, but I can't remember what it was for.
I think he was on the injury report a little. Yeah, abdomen, groin. He had ankles. We're talking about like a game, maybe, right? I mean, it's nothing. So, DJ Moore, man, what a great ad by Buffalo. And so, was Ryan McDowell one of the people that was criticizing how much they had to pay to get him, or are you just saying Twitter people?
No, I'm saying NFL reporters and conversators from that perspective, and people that are in the NFL draft ethos are like, why would you overpay? And it's like, in theory, yes, that's an overpay.
Okay, that makes more sense. See, that makes more sense because these are the NFL draft analysts really value draft picks.
Oh,
because
but they don't realize it's like Bean can't. He literally, you could give him the 9th pick and he would still mess it up at wide receiver.
Oh yeah, he'd pick. No, you cannot listen to these people because they are already projecting players that they love and or they think are going to be superstars or have superstar potential into these slots in the second round. But that's not what actually happens. What actually happens is teams will take Dwayne Eskridge. That's what happens. Sometimes you're going to get an Allen Robinson. Sometimes you're going to maybe at the top of the round, you can get some good players, T. Higgins, Ladd McConkey at the top of the round. But if you're down at the end of the second round, once in a while, a DK Metcalf will slip down there. But generally speaking, you have to really have scouted a small school guy, a Cooper Kupp, something like that. And that's just very uncommon that you would hit on like some small school guy that's rising for whatever reason into the second round. Come on, man. DJ Moore, you want to go win. This is go time. Like this is a career crossroads for Josh Allen. You're not
Yep.
going to give up a late second rounder to give him some help right now. Even if you draft a wide receiver there, he's not going to be a contributor, a meaningful contributor this year. It's very rare a late second round wide receiver is a meaningful contributor in year one.
Let alone, I mean, they tried it with Keon Coleman. It wasn't a hit. It was a first rounder. It's
Well,
like,
I mean, come on, Teion Coleman's. That was a major bust. But yeah, so I agree with the move. I like the move for everybody involved. The Bears are now short of receivers, so the one thing we have to watch out for is the Bears drafting a wide receiver. I love Odunze. I think he's an alpha. No one's gonna be cannibalizing targets from him. Burden, we're gonna see who they draft. But if Burden can escape where they're just drafting like a day 3 receiver, then ooh baby, yeah, Burden becomes even more exciting. Let's talk about rookie running backs because we're halfway into the show and yet we still haven't even covered rookie running backs or receivers. Whoops. Jeremiah Love, he's officially undeniable. And by the way, you were so right. I mean, how right were you? Were you were on this program and you said there is no second tier running back. They don't exist. Is tier 1 and then there's tier 3. I'm looking at it right now. Tier 2 NA doesn't exist, and now it really doesn't exist. Now it's like, is there a tier 3? Is it from tier? Do we go from tier 1 to tier 4 at this point?
I think there's enough upside with a couple of these guys, and especially from the athleticism profiles with Mike Washington, who tore the roof off of Lucas Oil Stadium, and the athletic profile that we can project out of Nick Singleton, the running back from Penn State, who broke his 5th metatarsal at the Senior Bowl, didn't get the test at the NFL Combine, but says he's going to try and get a workout. He's going to try and have a Sean Tucker-like workout the week before the NFL draft, so we'll see if we get something there. But we do know from the Bruce Feldman's freak list that Bruce Feldman from Fox does every single year. Actually, he might be with the Athletic now, but they have a timed 4.33 from Nick Singleton and a 660-pound squat and like a bunch of athletic feats that he did at Penn State during pro days 2 years ago. So we know athleticism exists in a couple of these guys at 218, 219, 220 pounds, which is fun. But yeah, as far as this overall group goes, there's just a lot of holes you can poke, especially Mike Washington. Like, I love Mike Washington, but he's a guy that spent 1 year at Arkansas at 1,070 yards, and in his career, he's had 12 fumbles. So as awesome as that 4.33 at 220 plus pounds looks, and he's only one of 4 human beings to do that from the SEC, weigh 220 pounds or more and running the 4.3s, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Nile Davis, like, that's it with Mike Washington. That's great. But 1 year at the Power 4 level, he wasn't Bo Jackson on tape. He wasn't Herschel Walker on tape. He fumbled 12 times in his career. There's a lot of question marks around Mike Washington. And you just, like, you talk about the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. There's just not enough on that profile to put him in tier 2 when there's such a clear, like, when you in tier talk, Jeremiah Love is the ideal person to have up there, right? Bijan Robinson's the ideal person to have up there. We're not talking about a tier 1 that's like Jonathan Brooks.
All right.
Right?
I'm going to pull up my calculator right now. Here we go. Jeremiah Love's lifetime value in our player rankings is 211.79. The difference between him and Jadarian Price currently are RB2, but I mean there's 4 guys that are essentially in a 4-way tie. Is 56.33. There is a 155.46 point difference. What? So, Jadarian Price still RB2 or no?
I'm not quite there. I've done a small series in the draft ranking show where I've talked about all these different running backs and who is RB2, because I think that's a massive question that we have to discuss. And we got the weight in. So the weight that you see right there, 212, he actually came in at 203. Or no, that's Jeremiah Love, sorry. I thought you had Jadarian Price up there. So Jadarian Price came in at 203, and that was lighter than we expected. We expected him to be closer to 210. He ran faster. He ran sub 4.5, but we often see this sometimes where a guy might come in 8 pounds light and he might break through a threshold, which that threshold was for running back specifically. You got to get below 4.5. And he got below 4.5, but he came in light. So I like Jadarian Price, but he's another one of these guys that you just talk about the overall profile. Playing with Jeremiah Love didn't help him. We just don't know if he can be a 3-down workhorse. But does that matter in the year of our Lord 2026? I don't think it really does, because you look at these backfields, specifically you just point to the Super Bowl. You go, well, you got a Charbonnet and you got a Walker. Well, you got a Stevenson, you got a Henderson. You look across the entire league, and we heard this 2-3 years ago at the NFL Combine talking to these GMs and coaches that we don't want – I mean, everybody wants to have a bell cow, but we're not forcing bell cows. We want to have 2 and 3 backs on our roster that can keep guys fresh, and you can just continue to put them out there and not have to worry about them getting run down after the 12th game of the season and getting hurt, blah, 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 blah. So a guy like Jadarian Price is perfect in a situation like, I don't know, Detroit, now that there's no David Montgomery. Like, he'd be a great guy to have as a number 2 next to Jahmyr Gibbs type of a player, or behind a Bijan Robinson. Yeah, for that owner, for a Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs owner in Dynasty, you're going to hate that. But for Jadarian Price, that's a great opportunity. So is he the RB2? I don't think so. I'm not completely done, but right now I moved him down and I put Nick Singleton back in the RB2 spot.
What are you projecting for Singleton's athleticism?
I don't think we're ever going to get real athleticism, because he says he wants to have a workout the week before the NFL draft.
No, I don't think it. No, I'm not talking about like a pro day. I'm just talking about how athletic if he was at the combine, what do you think he would have done? What would you have projected for him at the combine?
Oh, I mean, he's at least 95th percentile athleticism at the running back position.
So could he have been a tier 2 guy? So he could have gone to the combine and potentially been your tier 2 guy. He could have broke into your tier 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was potential there. This is a guy that played with Katron Allen at Penn State. He was a 5-star prospect out of high school, played with Katron Allen at Penn State, broke out at age 18, the only 18-year-old breakout in this class, multiple 1,000-yard seasons, only one of 4 players to do that, himself, Katron Allen, Jeremiah Love, and Jamari Taylor from Virginia. And even though the last year and a half he's been a little banged up, he still had 22% of his team's output this last year, his team's total production, next to a Katron Allen who had 30%. He's a really, really, really talented running back that can play all 3 downs. Like, this is a guy that people will tell you, if you go out and listen to people, Katron Allen outworked him. Katron Allen was better. It's like Katron Allen can't really catch the football out of the backfield.
Can you do better than that, please? I know you were almost like to a place where you were doing like a real, actual, full impression of one of these NFL scouts. I want you to commit to it. Like, you started down the road, and then you veered back, right? You started to, and then now I'm back inside the lines. Can you commit to it, man? This is what great actors do. They come up with an idea, they put themselves out there, and they commit to it. They commit to playing a character that, maybe doesn't resonate with the audience, or maybe it does. Maybe it's funny. Maybe it's interesting. Whatever it is. Put yourself out there. Be that guy. Be that scout. Be Scout X, Cody. Come on.
I'm going to do it at the wide receiver position.
I'm not saying now. You're on the spot now. I'm just saying next time. I'm asking this question. It could hopefully at some point in the show. We'll tease there. The mood will strike you. So when the mood strikes you, and I'll do it too. You know what I mean? I'll go football coach on you, right? I'll get on there and hey. So this guy can play some football, right? So I'll commit. I'll commit if you will. We'll get in there.
Mel Kiper Jr.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay. All right. So We also teased a little guy named Mike Washington, who isn't little at all. He's very big, and I think he's exciting. I think this is the. I think it's so. It's like this is the fun conversation. It's always fun to find where the conversations are in a draft, and this is where it is. It's like, okay, there's no tier 2 guy, but let's sift through these tier 3 players. And Mike Washington is really exciting. It's like, do I want what they're showing me, right? Do I want what I have in front of me on the stage? With the I'm a contestant, right? We're making a deal, and this looks pretty good. Mike Washington looks pretty good. I look at the athleticism. I know that there's some compromising we have to do to get there to rationalize the lack of production. Or you could take what's behind the curtain in Singleton. So I love this. Like, this is the bird in the hand, or we have the bird in the bush. And you're saying, take the bird in the bush. I got to tell you, I'm such an athleticism snob, and I do prefer the bird in the hand, my friend. And I really like Mike Washington.
I don't think that's bad. I mean, Mike Washington's a good back. He's a good back that performed well against top opponents this last year. He spent 3 years at Buffalo, spent the year at New Mexico State with Seth McGowan, who I think we'll talk about here in a minute probably, because his athleticism was interesting at the combine.
McGowan.
But the problem is, like I said,
look
a
at these
minute
guys
ago,
with the transfer portal. Can we just talk about the transfer portal? Buffalo, New Mexico State, Arkansas. Like the college stats. If you go to Mike Washington on Player Profiler, the college stats. It's like that we can't make up our minds here. Like, pick a school, dude.
17 out of 32 prospects that we've evaluated, so over half had transferred at least once.
That's crazy.
Running back position.
Back in my day, we didn't have no transfer portal. This sauce is made in New York City. It's Pace County. So I think that was the voice I was trying. I found it was the guy. So that wasn't a ball coach at all. That was a salsa fan. So yeah, Mike Washington played 5 seasons. None of these schools were winning a national championship by any means. And then last year, he just unlocked it all, man. We're talking about a 6.4 yards per carry. He did catch 28 passes. I think you got to really work hard to not put this guy in your top 3.
Yeah, I mean, right now that's kind of where I'm sitting with Singleton 2 and Washington 3, and it's a much tougher conversation for me after that. Like, you're talking about, like, the group after that. Like, I think the Jadarian Price thing will have a conversation all the way till the end. I think he just is what he is. He'll never be more than what he isn't. But the Katron Allen, Jonah Coleman, like that, I think that train left the station as far as those guys being running back 2 in this class for me. So it's really comes down to Singleton and what you think that athleticism will look like at the next level, and his health, which has been a little bit of a question the last year and a half. And then Mike Washington, who, like we talk about, is a supreme athlete, which on tape, it shows up that he's got burst. It doesn't show up that he's a 4.33 guy. And like I just brought my write-up back up that I put over at rosterwatch.com. We do spotlights for all these guys. And literally, so I'll own this. I don't really care. The first player I see while watching Washington is hands down Latavius Murray coming out of Central Florida. Yes. Murray ran a diabolical 4.38 40 at 223 pounds at the Central Florida Pro Day. Washington won't run that fast. Quite literally ran faster.
Quite literally. Latavius Murray, man. I remember when Latavius Murray went to the Raiders and he just kept getting, plugged up and going down on first contact. And I was like, this guy ran a 4.43?
Just straight line speed, man. That's just like
I
that
mean,
one cut and go.
yeah.
See what I'm
Right?
talking about? Though? Like that's the problem. It's like that's more than likely, again, very rare athlete with Mike Washington, but the grouping of players that have done that, 220 plus pounds, ran a 4.3, is like Bojack and Herschel Walker and Niall Davis from Arkansas. What is more likely, right? What is more,
He's Niall
even if you cut it in
Davis.
half, you're like, he's Latavius Murray. Okay, I'll give you the Latavius Murray career. Is that worth a first round pick in dynasty rookie drafts? If I told you that was your running back too, would you say hell yeah? No, right? So that's where like the Nick Singleton thing for me comes in. Is I think that there's more upside in the receiving game for a guy that is 219 pounds in Singleton, is 6 foot tall, similar build to Washington. We've seen him run 4.33 at Penn State. Now, how official is that? That was just been reported from scouts, so that's hand time. Mike Washington's was an electrical 4.33, but this is one of the most prolific running backs in Penn State history. Is Nick Singleton, and competed with another draftable athlete in Katron Allen those 4 years at Penn State. So as overall, just like I lean much more into that, even if the floor comes out with Nick Singleton, which I think is like some kind of Devontae Booker situation.
What
Which is
about Isaac Garendo? That's another comp.
for who's this for?
Mike Washington.
Oh, okay, Maddie. Maddie loves that. Maddie loves that Isaac Garendo comp for Mike Washington.
But Maddie wasn't at the combine. And Maddie wasn't at the Senior Bowl.
Maddie's a big TV guy.
Maddie was shoveling snow. That's what he was doing. Maddie was shoveling snow with one hand and on the phone with the airlines with the other. He was on hold with American Airlines while shoveling snow. That's Maddie Kiwoom in a nutshell this year. Sorry, Maddie. We'll get him next time. We'll get you there, buddy. We'll get you there. Seth McGowan. You mentioned the name Seth McGowan. He looks okay. Is there something I'm missing here with Seth McGowan? Why wouldn't he other than that he looks like someone who is probably not going to hold the door for an old lady. Like he just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy based on his facial expression. I don't see opening doors for old ladies. I don't see helping them up the stairs. I don't see that. But I could be wrong. I don't know him. I don't know the man. But he certainly looked angry when he was taking his headshot.
Seth McGowan turns 26 years old in week 6
Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe that's why he's mad.
Of the 2026
Football has
NFL
passed him
season.
by.
As far as like, this is a guy that he's got a long track record. Are you ready for this one? 1 year at Oklahoma.
Oh, here we go.
1
Let's
year
pull it
at
up.
Texas
We're
College,
going to pull it up. We're going to
NAIA.
pull it up on Player Profiler. Go to college stats. By the way, you can go into the the little menu at the top. You hit the down arrow, and you can just automatically scroll down to the college stats. But yeah, we're talking about every year: Oklahoma, New Mexico State, Kentucky, da 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 da.
Junior
before
college.
that, it was like
and
what was
NAIA.
it? Community college.
Yeah. This is the level of, so listen, I don't think he's a terrible back. I just don't think he's good. We'll just put it that way. Like 6 of his 9 career games with 18 plus touches were at Kentucky in 2025. He was actually teammates with Mike Washington at New Mexico State and got the lion's share, if you want to call it that. It was more like I don't even know what kind of, it was like
Kitty cat share.
2 kitty cats fighting over peanuts type of a situation.
Did cats eat
Red
peanuts?
flags off the field. 5 fumbles in the last 2 seasons. Only like 4.3 yards per carry in 2025 in his Power 5 games. The profile just isn't there. He's not a form tackle breaker. He doesn't excel in really any quadrant of the field, breaking tackles, burst downfield, anything. Like the lowest graded running back I have going into the combine among 22 guys.
He showed incredible burst Incredible. I mean, he wasn't like record-breaking burst like we saw from tight ends, but pretty good. Pretty good.
It's one of those things where you,
Pretty explosive. But again, so is Isaac Garendo. Right?
yeah,
I think this is a much more of a Garendo type comp than Mike Washington.
Garendo, Pacheco, something like this, where it's like play style. I wrote Pacheco, and those guys are in the same. I mean, Garendo, Pacheco are the same bucket in my opinion. So,
Well, Garendo's best comparable on Player Profiler is Pacheco.
yeah, family comp right there.
I mean, it's the only guy. Listen, I'm happy to draft these guys because I am a running back drafter in rookie drafts. It's where you're going to get them. You're going to get the most bang for your buck. Going running back, Kamani Vidal had weeks, and
Yep.
most receivers never have weeks, and Kamani Vidal did have weeks. So I'm in on running backs, but I just I'm with you that the fact that he just keeps transferring and he could never find a home, and no, it didn't feel just something is up where this guy just doesn't have the whether the football acumen that you're looking for. I don't think it's there with him. Just based on his track record, his production profile. 4.4 college yards per carry. I mean, come on, man. In smaller schools, what are you doing? Like what? So yeah, let's move to a guy that's even more sleepery, right? Not slippery. No, I didn't say slippery. I said which running backs can be slippery, as you know. Who's the slipperiest running back in the league right now? Who's the slipperiest? Is it Jahmyr Gibbs? Who's a rocket ship?
I mean, it's probably got to be Gibbs or Bijan. Yeah.
You think no, come on. You could have a little scat back. Could have a
Tariq
little
Cohen's
slippery.
not in the league anymore.
Yeah, Tariq Cohen's not in the league anymore. That's a good point. Yeah, it's who would God, I really want to think of give me a minute and I'll
The
try to think.
slipperiest
There's
running
really
back.
not that many small satellite back onlys. Like the Bucky Irvings he was converted into like a primary back. Devon Achane really wins with explosiveness, not really a slipperiness.
There really isn't.
I can't think of a good one. Maybe like a Kenny Gainwell's pretty damn slippery. But
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But not at the Jahmyr Gibbs level. What about Jam Miller? Like this is one of those things. Tank Bigsby, Jam Miller. Once in a while, you get some Dick Butkus. Like you get some great football names every year. We get some great. This is good. This is a good one. Jam Miller, I love just for the name. Alabama, not productive, but ran the 4.42, and this immediately puts him on my radar. I'll be drafting him.
So before I jump too deep into him, I do want to say he ran a 10.7 100-meter in high school, which is really good. The 209 body weight is an issue, and the issue is he was listed at 221 during the season. So you're getting an entirely different profile of testing than I think what he plays at. We talked about this a minute ago with guys that, with Jadarian Price, who we expected at 210, 211, comes in at 203, breaks that sub 4.5 barrier. With Jam Miller, like we're looking at, man, this is a low 4.5 guy, maybe 4.6 at 221 pounds. He was, if you entertain this Ty Simpson conversation, which is, what are the list of issues with Ty Simpson? Well, he had no support in the run game. And when you have a super athletic first-round 350-pound left tackle, one of the most sought-after right tackles in the transfer portal this year, a third-round draftable center, and you have talent on the outside and a quarterback, and you have no run game. Sometimes it's not the line or the quarterback or the receiver; it's the run game.
The running back, yeah.
And that was Jam Miller.
3.9 yards per
back there.
carry. 3.9 yards per carry. Yuck.
He's a tough profile to really believe in. 18 receptions, 130 carries this last year.
Ugh.
He was responsible for 13% of the team's total production. He's dealt with injuries. I think he had a collarbone. He's had concussions.
He has a collarbone?
He had a dislocated collarbone, missed 3 games this last
Oh,
year.
that sounds painful.
So, and just like as far as like hitting thresholds of, 50-yard games or multiple receptions or 18 carries in a game, like he's only had 3 career
Okay,
games of
okay,
18.
okay, okay, okay.
It's a bad
Okay,
profile, but
okay,
here's the
okay.
positive. Here's the
Okay,
positive.
we're
Ready?
moving on. We'll go to
I told you there's always a glass half full with these guys, right? A lot of these guys in this class,
Okay. Okay.
he's got big calves.
Ooh. Very draftable. Fourth round pick. Here we go. Incoming fourth round, Jam Miller. Here we go. Okay, you saw you were there for the RB drills, right? The on-field drills.
Yeah.
Anyone in the RB drills look good, impress you in terms of just, hey, this guy has a lateral quickness about him that doesn't quite show up in the testing or doesn't show up on film. This guy had a smoothness about him.
Yeah. Just one.
Who?
Yeah, Jeremiah Love.
Oh, Jesus.
Like
Wide receivers. Wide receivers. Carnell Tate, 91.2 speed score. Why? Other receivers didn't test, and then he did from Ohio State. Ohio State players hate testing. They love testing in the Ohio State fast track with their coaches, right? And everyone shows up. You might as well. Why even work out the combine? If you're from Ohio State, everyone's going to your pro day anyway. But he's like, no, I'm going to run. I respect that. I respect Jeremiah Love. I respect Carnell Tate. I respect the hell out. It's a bummer that they, didn't post a very good score.
It's most interesting, like you said, he ran the 40. He didn't do the on-field route running, which I would have thought the inverse. I would have thought, like you said, run the 40 at the pro day, compete with Casey Concepcion, Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, compete with these guys at the combine, catching passes. But there's also a theory behind that. It's like you're playing with a quarterback that's just never thrown a football to you before. I get that totally. But the interesting thing with Carnell Tate, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, but the thing floating around Twitter, like within hours of that 40-yard dash time coming in the 4.5s, was Adam Schefter ripping tweets about scouts telling him that they had Tate between 4.44 and 4.47. And then people were like making fun of Schefter about this, about, oh yeah, his agent's pushing a narrative. And so Schefter ripped like 8 screenshots from scouts that said 4.44, 4.42, 4.47, 4.45, 4.49, 4.51, like all these different numbers.
Well, why do you think it is that when people work out at the pro day and they post a 4.48 and it gets corrected on Player Profiler to a 4.53 because Carnell Tate, who is a 4.48 guy at his pro day, is a 4.53 when you laser time him at the combine? That's just how it works. What is the big deal? Poor Schefter, man. Schefter's engaging with the zombie masses who don't understand how testing works.
So the biggest thing for me is this: it doesn't really matter. His game is not, hey, I should have ran a 4.2, blah blah blah. Like the list is never ending. If you go on data analysis and just go to guys of that size, stature, it's DeAndre Hopkins 4.5s, Keenan Allen 4.6, Devontae Adams 4.5. You can go on and on and on. It doesn't matter. I mean, his play style isn't that of a guy that's going to run a 4.4 flat anyway. So that 40 time only matters for the general public to say that guy's going here, or a narrative to be spun in any direction. Carnell Tate's a really good wide receiver. Optimally, he's a Z, opposite of a dynamic 1, new age alpha, one of these 5'11", 6 foot, 200-pound guys that has the dynamism to be that guy, a.k.a. what he saw at Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith, what you've gotten out of Emeka Egbuka, like roles he's been in before at Ohio State. Right. So that's one of the things, like Alex will always push back on me. I've had Carnell Tate wide receiver 1, and he'll say the one thing in his profile, he's never been an alpha. All right, well, he's also playing with Jeremiah Smith, who, if you don't know, you'll know soon who Jeremiah Smith is.
God, if your name's Jeremiah, you're awesome at football.
Yeah, pretty solid. So, but that's the thing with Carnell Tate, is it's like the running doesn't really matter for his style of play, and historically it hasn't mattered for some guys. that are like that can win at the contested catch point, that can create separation on their own, that don't run these routes that are just like, hey, I need to. Like, he creates separation in different ways.
17.2 yards per reception. So he was
Yep.
getting downfield just fine against elite competition. 32.2% college dominator for an Ohio State wide receiver is very good. I'm a fan of Carnell Tate. So I'm with you. I'm not concerned. We're not concerned at Player Profile. We have him as the wide receiver 1. That's not going to. By the way, so Carnell Tate, a guy like Jam Miller, I respect that they came out, but you did. I mean, at such a young age, more from these big schools. So what happens? Like, if you're from a small school, you're generally going to go into the portal, or a small to mid-sized school. But if you're 21, even if you don't produce like a Jam Miller, you're going to come out if you're coming up from Ohio State or Alabama. Because what are you going to do? You're going to transfer. If you transfer from Alabama or transfer from Ohio State, you're going to transfer down the portal instead of up the portal. And then that looks like a downgrade. That looks like you're trying to showcase yourself against lesser competition. Hey, man, I already reached the top of the mountain. You know, judge me on what I did, and I'm coming out. I'm 21. I'm going to come out, and I'm not going to be lingering around college football until age 25, like some of these other guys that we talked about shall remain nameless. Well, they were named earlier, but I'm worried about how angry he looks, so I'm not going to mention him again. Seth McGowan.
That's the new age of college sports, though. Like, that's exactly how it is. And the Jam Miller thing is, he is what he is. This class is what it is. So he's going to get drafted. How high? Probably 7th round. Be lucky if it's 6th. Like, he's got a solid profile in theory, but yeah, I mean, that's you go into the portal at this point after Bama, you're like the Chip Trainum career arc, which is like Ohio State to Arizona State to Kentucky to Toledo, and then you break out at Toledo, and it's like, all right, well, congrats.
All right, let's talk about some guys that have some excitement around them, some little bit of buzz here. Zachariah Branch. Thoughts?
Love.
I mean, right. We love him.
This is a guy that what can't be said. So here's the deal. 2-part here. We grade every single route at the NFL Combine. We don't just go there and watch the 40s. For the last 4 years, we've charted every single route that these players have ran on the football field, the gauntlet, the slants, the deep balls, the whip routes, everything. The 17-yard out, you name it, we charted it. And this year, in charting all of that, Zachariah Branch was one of the better route runners, which, interestingly enough, if you go and listen to the Twitter ethos of draft conversations, people will tell you Zachariah Branch cannot run routes. Can't do it. Won't do it. 51% of the routes he ran in 2025 were screens. Cool.
Well, I mean, the 10.0 yards per reception tells you that without any film.
Yeah.
At all.
Like, context with that is no wide receiver in the history of the sport has ever knowingly went to Georgia because they knew that they were going to get a draft boost. Like, Georgia's the place that you go if you are like, I want to win a championship, and you're not really concerned about having a 1,700-yard season and winning the Blitnikoff Award. That's just not where you go. So he goes there. He had 800 yards, I think it was, in the air. And Zachariah Branch, so if you go back to his freshman season at USC, this guy was returning punts. He is majestic. One of the a Tavon Austin level highlight reel, if you go watch it on YouTube. But this is my thing with Zachariah Branch. Like I said, he was the number 3 graded wide receiver at the Combine this year after Mekhi Lemon and Casey Concepcion.
Yeah, by the way, Ladd McConkey topped out at 760. Ladd McConkey topped out at 762 yards at Georgia.
Yeah. He was a better route runner than Zachariah Branch was pound for pound on tape coming out. Ladd was fun. But that was like Ladd was the first receiver. I think it was 2000. Gosh, I want to say it was 2001. Was the last time Georgia had a 1,000-yard receiver? They still haven't had one.
Ooh.
And it was like Ladd could do it, Zachariah Branch could do it, and neither of them did it. The comp that nobody ever wants to talk about, everyone's scared to touch with Zachariah Branch, is Tyreek Hill. Here's the reason why you can use it. He's one of only 2 human beings that have rubber ligaments in their knees. When they're running routes at full speed, they're the only 2 humans I've ever seen that are able to run at 22 miles an hour and just bend and just run routes and not have like put your foot in the dirt, cut sideways, get across the field. No, these guys just full speed, 22 miles an hour. And that's the difference in what Tyreek Hill brings to the table. The same thing that Zachariah Branch has. Why I'm saying you can use that comp is because Tyreek Hill's been training Zachariah Branch for the last 3 off seasons. These guys race. These guys work out. These guys run routes. They train together. And they are not doppelgangers, but, man, they're close. Tyreek Hill packs a little bit more weight in the lower half, but this is the type of player you're talking about right here. And he's not conversed right now in that top 5 wide receivers, but Alex and I have been arguing about it the last 2 weeks about like it needs to be a big 6 and not a big 5. It needs to be a big 6, and Zachariah Branch needs to be a part of it.
Incredible. I agree with you. Why not? Right? Why not? Well, let me. I think we should. That deserves a sound effect. I'm very late with it. Deion Burks. I like him. I like the athleticism. Athleticism score not as high as you might think because he's only 180 pounds. So he's small with very short arms. So just doesn't quite have the athleticism score that you might want. I think he deserves. So it's like middle of the pack. If he was 210 pounds and he ran a 4.3 something, his athleticism score would have been a lot higher. That's just how it goes. There's a lot of these guys that are 175 pounds that go out and run the 4.3s. They're very, 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 very common. What do you think of Deion Burks?
I just think you made a very interesting analogy that you once made about the late Rondale Moore, which is if he was 210 pounds, he would be an entirely different. You'd be viewing him entirely different. Funny thing is, Deion Burks went to Purdue before he was at Oklahoma.
He did. I'm looking at it right now on PlayerProfiler. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Rest in peace, my man, Rondale Moore. That guy, his career could have gone in a bunch of different ways. And, yeah, I think my take on Twitter was that if he were 6'3", 220, he would have been better than Calvin Johnson. And I stick by that. I by that.
To me, that's one of the all-time. That's one of your all-time quotes. I remember that one going out.
People remember where they were.
Like, what are you talking about?
They remember where they were when I said that. That's right.
But no, I think Burks is good. The profile is transferring. He was another one of those transfer portal guys that goes to Oklahoma. He's just a guy that has dealt with injuries the last couple of years. I think he had a head neck injury at Purdue, goes into the portal, and he's been dealing with soft tissue stuff at Oklahoma. Took a step forward in 25 playing with John Mateer, but that wide receiver room was pretty empty. This athleticism, this 4.3 flat never really showed. I mean, he's quicker than fast, I would say, but
he's another screen guy. He's a gadget guy.
Yeah, more than anything. Like he's a 100% slot guy.
Slot gadget. Yeah. All right, fair enough. What about Chris Brazil?
I hate to just continue to be negative, but this is a guy that has
I know, right?
This is just red flag city on Chris Brazzell. He was
it's Brazzell?
I don't know. I
like Brazzell, that way better than Brazil. That's my bad. I just think Brazil sounds cool, but Brazzell sounds better. Razzle dazzle Brazzell.
Brazzell makes it sound like you actually want to draft him.
Yeah, Brazzle razzle dazzle, man. I'm into it.
So he was impressive at Tulane. That was his kind of big coming out party, was at Tulane. Then he transfers to Tennessee, and big human being, 6'5", 200 pounds. The testing comes through as you expected it to in the 4.3s. This is one where there's a lot of hive. Like there's a Brazel hive out there that is like, this is it. This is what you've been waiting for. This
We
is a
like him.
top four.
Yes, he's going to be in the newsletter. He's in the Player Profiler newsletter. Go to playerprofiler.com and go to the bottom or at the top. You see the icons. Hit the little mail icon. Put your email in there, and you can get our newsletter. We call out Chris Brazel, Dazzle.
Brazel dazzle. I think the Christian Watson comp has legs. Like there's upside there.
Yeah.
28% team's production this last year.
711 yards as a sophomore. Let's go. That's good.
There's a little, not a lot. I should say there's a little bit of off-field question mark there.
Okay.
The Tennessee offense is different than every other offense in America, and he'll argue with you. This was actually, being boots on the ground there at the combine. Like he was asked straight up about the off-field stuff, and you could tell there was some friction there. He obviously didn't want to talk about it, especially to the media, but teams have been asking him about it. And then number two was just the on-field stuff in how Tennessee structures their offense and how it just runs a little bit different, how wide the routes are run, closer to the sideline, and it doesn't really play into his style the most. And he's trying to dispel that. He's trying to tell, he's trying to get that out there. Like, I'm not a product of this system. I'm not Jalen Hyde. I'm not Cedric Tillman. I'm not these guys of the last 5 years that have come out of the system, which I don't think he entirely is. He's a lot. If you could put a tag on him, I'd put like 6 tags of just question mark, raw talent, athleticism. Like this is a red flag. Like there's just a lot there with Brazel that I like and I've liked dating back to Tulane. But when you bring it up to this class and compare it against his peers, no.
Yeah, this was your worst take by far. You are all over the place.
This is one where
like him, you don't like him, but there's flags there, but you're excited, but you're not excited. He could be Randy Moss, isn't good enough, but even relative to other players, I'm still not interested. And you really have not.
You think I like
in on like your real feelings and the why? You're just like, I got a bad feeling. There's things, and there might be off the field, and there might be.
There's off the field. There is.
What's the off the field? What's the off the field?
I can't. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Okay. Are you familiar with a wide receiver named Ted Hurst?
Yo, now we're talking.
Can we talk about Ted? Can I get you excited about a player that you can actually have a take that's coherent? Oh, we should clip that.
That's yeah.
Ted Hurst looks good. See, when you're 206 and you run a 4.42, suddenly your athleticism score goes nuclear. And
this is
buttoning his shirt up all the way. You love it.
This is what you dreamt Romeo Doubs would be right here.
Right here.
This is a dog version of Romeo Doubs.
Ooh,
an athletic version of Romeo Doubs. A physical version of Romeo Doubs.
This guy's Romeo Dog?
Yes, he's going to bully you down the field.
Bulldog.
He's going to block you into the stands. He's going to jump over you. He's going to run through you.
Ooh.
And he's not going to talk, which Romeo didn't do. He's got quick shakes at the line of scrimmage. He sinks well. He's got good footwork. He brings the juice like he is. This is your sleeper at the wide receiver position in 2026. And the problem is a lot of people are kind of figuring out who he is because he was at the Senior Bowl. This is the physical fun one right here.
Yeah, Maddie was oh, wait, no, Maddie didn't go to the Senior Bowl. Snow day. Shoveling and on the phone with American Airlines. So We're talking about 1,000 yards on just 11 games. He almost averaged 100 yards a game. Small school, wide receiver. This is what you want. This is what we're looking for. Always looking for these guys. Always. Always. 28% target share. This is what we're looking for. The small school is what really does it for me. Love that. Love it.
Could have transferred up. Could have played the new age thing and went, well, I was at Valdosta for 2 years. I went to Georgia State for 2 years. Why don't I apply for a 5th year of eligibility and transfer to, South Carolina or Alabama? He could have done that, but he trusted what he put on tape. And I loved what he put on tape, and I loved what he brought to the Senior Bowl. I loved what he brought to the Combine.
These guys typically don't transfer. They transfer to Tennessee. They transfer to Arkansas. They transfer to Kentucky. That's where they transfer. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah, that's where they transfer. So and then it gets really muddled. Just stay at Georgia State, dominate, and come out. So where do you think he gets drafted?
I think he's a 2nd-round pick.
Oh, well, that's not being mocked, is it? In most places,
very, very rarely.
Very rarely. Good.
I think he's.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you. You really followed up your Brazzle incoherence with a true. This is what we're talking about. This is what I'm looking for. You got a hot draft take. You got a hot fantasy take on this guy, and I agree. I mean, listen. I know what I'm doing here. I didn't wait to the very end to bring up Ted Hurst for nothing, right? So yeah, this is he is getting. There's always a guy every year. I talk about a guy that's gonna inevitably convince me to pivot off running back in the 2nd, 3rd round of rookie drafts, and depending on where he goes in the draft, that's where he's gonna get drafted. I mean, he's not a 1st-round pick in rookie drafts. There's no way.
I mean,
12 teams though.
I think there's a story that you could tell yourself.
Capital. If he goes
I
to the
think
right
there's a
team,
story. There's a story you could tell yourself if he's one of the first 15 picks in round 2, and the landing spot is juicy enough. Like, I mean, let's be honest, man. You get to the end of round 1 right now in 1 QB, and it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're talking about Mike Washington, Jadarian Price, Jeremy Bernard. Like, these are some of the names. And Ted Hurst, I don't think is far. He's right now for me. He's 204.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
if he gets the nut landing spot,
I can get there. I can get there with him as long as if I draft him in the 2nd round, you must go running back the rest of the way. You're like, okay, everybody, I didn't, and he'd really probably be your only wide receiver drafted. For me, if I'm going to draft in the 2nd round, it's in a situation where I had drafted a running back in round 1 or a quarterback in round 1. Maybe I got Mendoza and SuperFlex, something like that. But that would be the guy. He is. I always every year have an override button for one receiver to break my rule of just pounding running back in rookie drafts in 2nd round and beyond. That's it. Carnell Tate's a 1st rounder. But I love Carnell Tate. If I can't get Carnell Tate, I'm happy to get Ted Hurst. So let's get you out of here, man. Great show. Great. I feel good, man. We're back at it here. It's been a month. You have a lot of information from the Senior Bowl, from the Combine. Clearly, it's crystallized. It's good. So, with that, bold prediction for the upcoming pro days. So some of these guys opted out. Casey Concepcion, for example. Who do you think is going to melt faces at his pro day?
So I saved this specifically for this show because it's a lot of thought, a lot of work, a lot of time at multiple events to think through how I wanted to lay this one out. But like I said earlier, like my wide receiver 1 so far has been Carnell Tate through this whole process.
Right.
in a class that we've been talking about has a lot of question marks around the 103. And the guy that tested, I'm not going to knock Carnell Tate for testing and running a 4.53. He'll go to his pro day. He'll run the 4.48 that we expected him to run. It's the same number. But two guys that didn't run, you brought up Casey Concepcion and Mekhi Lemon, and Jordan Tyson, for that matter, from Arizona State, who, if the draft is a flat circle, will come back around, and I think he'll still be a first-round pick. But the numbers that I'm most interested in this pro day is Mekhi Lemon and Casey Concepcion. I'm worried about Mekhi Lemon. I think he's going to run slow. That's not a bold prediction. My bold prediction is, and what will put me over the top, is Casey Concepcion is going to run sub 4.45 in the 40. And with the new age alpha that I love, the 5'11", 6 foot, 190 to 200 pounds, run a 4.45 with an 18-year-old breakout and almost 3 yards per out run, and dynamism from North Carolina State to Texas A&M, Casey Concepcion will be my wide receiver one.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.